Welcome to In the Green, the podcast based on the intersection between life, finance, and the pursuit of breaking par. I am your host, Ryan Briggs with GFG Wealth Advisors. Time to tee off. Welcome back to another episode of In the Green podcast. We are excited to have a very special guest here today, a personal friend of mine. We've got Mark Martinez. Mark, thanks for coming on, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark and I have known each other for, about 4 years now or so?
That's more closer to 5.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just hanging around College Station, football games and basketball games.
Yeah.
And,
trying to play a little golf.
yeah, trying to get a little trouble.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring Mark on to talk about I guess a topic that I don't see a whole lot of buzz about, even though I think it's very important. I know you as a businessman and a family man.
Right.
And that's kind of what I want to get into today with our topic. But the overarching conversation today, I want to be around, if you're going to leave a message for your family, for your children to follow, what do you want that to be? How do you want to leave that? How do you want to present that? How do you want to teach it, really? Because the message might be something that is taught over time, not just spoken, right? So I'd like to get into that today. But first, just tell me about yourself. Tell me about your business and, get a little bit into your family. You don't have to give away personal details, but
Sure, yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah, so, Ryan, we've known each other 6 years. Mark Martinez, born in Weimar, Texas, a little small town. Went to school in a little town, Van Lake, Texas. And wife went to school in Bay City, kind of like Bryan College Station, side by side.
Yeah.
Went to school there, finished, came up here for a little bit. And then had to go to the workforce, so I had to go to work, and so that's what I did. And when I started around that town, it's primarily oil and gas construction. So growing up, that's what you see. That's kind of what you do.
Oil and gas everywhere.
Everywhere. Refineries, plants. So that's the direction it took me. So I did that starting really at 17. Came up here for a little bit, went back, and that's all I've done.
Right.
That's all I've done. I've just, being younger, I did a few things, but this is what I've done. And so I went to work for a company called Atlantic Richfield Company out of California, which then turned into BP Amoco. At the time, it was a change of heart.
Did you go to California?
No, I actually they had facilities here, which was great, and I'll tell you why it was great. Because our pay rate was based on California rates.
Oh, that's good.
So I started out at a higher rate than most people would probably start out.
But no state income taxes, you're in Texas.
Oh yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
We love that.
So I did that, and it rolled to BP, to Enterprise. And I was at Enterprise for about 10 years, and then I started my company.
And the name of your company is?
It's Lone Star GC3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I started my company, and it was a blessing. I did both for a while, and I realized that if I'm going to commit to something, it has to be one or the other, because I was splitting my time.
Right. How old were you when this was going on?
At the time, I guess I was about 27, something like that, 27, like that. And again, I did both, and then realized that, if you're going to commit, you don't want to split your time. You want to be fair.
Right.
So I'm going to be fair to the company I'm working for and give all 100%, or I'm going to be fair to myself and decide whether I want to do this or not. And at some point, I thought, I can do this, and that's my wife. The wife is involved, and asked, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. I'm thinking about going to work for myself. Yeah. Well, at the time I had Dylan was probably, I don't know, he was 7 or 8, and Nick was like 2 or 3. And I had great insurance, great benefits, great retirement.
Hard to leave the safety of that, right?
Hard to leave safety of it. It's hard to leave safety, and it's important investing in retirement because you're looking at your future and, how can I take care of my family? So what I did is, after asking her a couple times about doing it, she said, hey, look, if you're going to walk this, I'll walk with you. Yeah. So that's what we did. We started the company, and all these years later, we're still doing it, and it's been a blessing. So,
that's awesome. That's great. It's you said it before, and I see it happen a lot today, where you had to leave school to go to the workforce. Yeah. Or a lot of people just don't go to the workforce or don't go to school and just begin in the workforce. Right. And there's so much value in that. If your field just doesn't need education, go to work. Go build a company. You don't need an education to be an entrepreneur, You don't. There's so many people that have done it without the education. But I'll tell you, Ryan, there's so many people that have done it. And what it does, you have to start from the ground up, right? You learn, you make a lot of mistakes, but you learn from mistakes. And so you learn it that way. But I've always felt, because I was up here, and ultimately I wanted to be an Aggie graduate. But when I wasn't able to be that graduate, I was determined to get my kids here so they could finish. So Nick just finished last year.
He's working for me now, so
love that.
Yeah, but if he has a degree, and if he and it's helping our company out tremendously. So
sure.
I think education to me is extremely important, a higher level education, but it's not required to be successful.
Right.
You don't have to have it to be successful, but I think it's important. I think it brings a lot of value, especially here. I think in the structure, and you grow up. You should grow up. After those years.
Teaches you how to work hard and mature a little bit.
That's right.
It's funny you say it was around age 27 when you were making that decision. I feel like as young men growing up, about that age was when I finally started thinking more long term.
Right.
Right. It takes us a little while as men to mature.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
A lot longer than the fairer sex, right?
Right.
And but 27 was a good age for me where my mind flipped as well.
Right.
You quit thinking about the exact present or maybe 1 year in the future, but you start thinking about what does life look like when I'm 40 or 50.
Right. Because you start thinking more long term, right? And with me, I was a young father. I was a young father, had a young son, and again, very immature in the fact that just a young man, and
right.
you talk about kids raising kids. That was this guy, but you're forced to grow up, and I mean, and it's good, it's good, but but I didn't always think long term, but somewhere along the line I did. Like, I've got to do something different.
Yeah. Well, I can say with certainty that you and your wife pulled it off because you've got two wonderful young men as sons. So
thank you very much. Yeah.
Very happy to know them.
Yeah.
So on this topic, was there a specific moment or a point where, when you start a business, you're initially starting it, when you're young, thinking about your personal success or success for you and your wife, after you succeed in that, and you've realized you've built something that's somewhat sustainable and substantial, was there a point where you started realizing that you might be building something for future generations down the line as well?
Sure, yeah, there was. I mean, and sometimes you don't realize that's happening, but it does. And again, having a company starting it, there's so many struggles, that you go through, so much learning that needs to be done, that you're so focused on that. And then then there starts to be some success. You start to do well. Financially, you're in a better position. You're able to do things that you probably don't be able to do. So a lot of times we kind of look at ourselves. Me and the wife, and you got kids, but they're okay. Taking care of them. You give them more opportunities you had as children. So you're doing, but you're doing for yourself. But then there's a point, I think, after you've done well, and you start to see your kids grow, and they're getting closer to high school now. Now they're in high school, and you're thinking, okay. When they get done, what are they going to do? Because sometimes you give your kids a lifestyle and a life, and if they're going to maintain that, they're going to have to do something to help maintain that, right?
Yeah,
and
which mainly is go to work.
Mainly go to work.
Yeah.
So there is a point where where I think throughout your success and throughout your years, you start thinking, what about Dylan? What about Nick? I want my wife to be okay. And then you have grandkids, and that's the best thing ever, So you kind of push your kids to the side a little bit, and you're like, I'm worried about them, but I love them all. Of course, they're all great. But then you think about that generation, and it really is a real thought, a real thing. You start thinking, how can I make sure that they're going to be okay?
Right.
And part of it, Ryan, is working hard and building relationships, but also putting your money in the right places so that that long-term wise that they're going to have an opportunity themselves. But not only that, but they're going to be okay. They're going to be fine. As long as they learn and manage and are responsible, they should be okay. And that's a good feeling. You want that. You want to go to bed at night knowing that.
Yeah. Because you can't just give somebody let's just call it a solid financial base without any education to go along with it.
Right.
Right. I mean, you see it all the time with people running out of money, or you see most famously athletes. They get given or they earn a large sum of money, by playing well and signing a contract, but without any education, it's up in smoke. It's gone.
Well, it is, and I think that's something that we do see, and it's unfortunately for them, we're learning off their mistakes, and you wish that they, were financially responsible and were educated. But a lot of the times, you're right. You give a kid, whether it be an athlete or a father that's given his kid a lot all their life, and then says, "Here you go," but they don't know how to manage the money, right? And the company and things. Well, it's easy to go from top of the mountain down the valley. When you're down the valley, you got to get back top of the mountain. So if you haven't taught them that, they'll probably still stay in the valley. And that's what's happened. You get somebody money that's not used to it, not educated, and they don't know what to do. They think it's going to be there forever.
Yeah.
It's not forever if you don't manage right and plan right.
That's right. No, it happens all the time, unfortunately. So you have, at this point, you have built a long-term business that's done well. You've got family involved with the business. You provide a lot of jobs for a lot of people. Just in our previous conversations, I know you want to see this business, continue on, and you've got one of your sons working for you right now. So I'm sure it'd be great to see him, take some kind of leadership role in the business. What message have you been instilling in your two sons, which will then pass to your grandkids? That after neither of us are on this earth, but there's a message that said, Grandpa, great grandpa taught us this. What's that message that you want them to carry with them?
Right. So both boys work for me right now, and the message, I guess, I want them to know and understand that success doesn't come just because it's given to you. You've got to work for it. And I think part of that is just the day-to-day operation of the job, seeing the shortcomings sometimes and recovering from that. Success is great. And people say failure, well, that's bad. Failure's not always bad. I've always said failure's not always bad.
Sure.
We don't like to fail. That's right. We don't like to fail. No one wants to fail. We all want to we want to slam dunk the ball every time, right? But sometimes you hit the rim, and it comes off the rim. So which I can't slam dunk a ball. I'm 5'10", But I want them to understand that through failure you can learn a lot of things that will help you be successful. Just don't do it twice. You do it once, it's on you. You do it twice. You do it once, you learn. Okay, it's a mistake. Twice, that's your fault. So, I want them to understand that it's not always going to be easy. It's going to be hard. At one point, Ryan, I went from 150 employees down to 3.
Really?
Down to 3 employees, and that was at an administration change where they really hit the oil and gas, and I was so invested in the oil field side of it, and that was a faucet. It turned off, and people told me, man, be prepared. Be prepared. You know what? I wasn't prepared. Again, first time I learned it won't happen again.
I bet you thought about quitting right then.
I tell you what, it was my office manager, my brother and me, and I went from doing very, very large projects to painting horse trailers.
Really?
Because I had a brand new home that I built for my wife. I sold her home and started this company. I cashed 401k in, I put it all in, and I was determined I'm not going to lose it all. Easily said, you know what, I can go get a job because I've got a lot of relationships, but that's not what I wanted. I invested in this company. I'm going to invest in it. I'm never going to stop.
Right.
But at the same time, COVID came, and we all felt the effects of that.
Oh, certainly.
Right?
Everybody
we all lost a lot. A lot of people lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
Where was your money at? What was it doing? What was your money doing? We weren't prepared for that necessarily. That wasn't something anybody just thought, well, COVID's coming next year. Right?
Yeah. So the whole world felt that.
The whole world felt it.
For the first time probably since World War II, we had a truly global event like that.
I've told my people around me and my family, there's things like the Great Depression, things like some of the large COVID's going to be those things that in 200 years you're going to say, man, remember that thing COVID? It'll be obviously in history books, and kids are going to learn from that. I want my kids to understand and know that if they don't have faith in the good Lord. That took me, a long ways. There's times you just like, man, this is tough. What about tomorrow? But as long as tomorrow came, and I was able to make tomorrow, and then maybe I was able to get to the next week, and then also a month, I'm prepared for a month, and that move forward, that was good. So I want them to understand that, I've worked very hard for them, and I've worked for them, and for my grandchildren, and I just want them to do the same thing. I want them to be ready for the tough times and enjoy the good times. So just do what you want to do to make you happy. Don't let anything ever direct, your happiness, but do it once it makes you happy. It doesn't have to be here. It doesn't be here. I'd love it to be here, and I think it will be here for them, but it doesn't have to be here.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we want to get up and be happy.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome, and I think that's a great message to leave for really anybody, and it's applicable to so many different situations.
Right.
But you are a wonderful family man, and
appreciate that.
You are the type of grandfather we should aspire to be, right?
Well,
you spoil the heck out of your grandkids,
Yeah.
and they're just cute as a button. So
I appreciate that, Ryan. Yeah.
But I love this message. A lot of what we do in the personal finance world really ties into how can we establish a base that you can pass on to the rest of your family.
Right.
There's so many different avenues that we can help you build something that will outlive you, right? And you seem to have your eyes on the prize, and that's a great thing.
I try, I do, and again, we talked about long term and what have you, and things to do, and I mean, you spoke, and I told you, it's when you're putting your money somewhere, it's your money, at your future, at your children. That's you want to put in the right place. And I knew you, and I sat there and told you, I trust you. I need to trust that guy. Mm-hmm. And so so again, thinking long term. Let's invest in the right place and find the right people that'll help you and have your best interest, at heart. And I know that we have that with you. And it just helps me, again, sleep better. And, I'm hoping that, as my children do better, that we're able, said it's a family thing, that we're able to go to you with that as well. So, it's been good. And, just, again, investing and doing the right type of investments and having the right people that their expertise is that's where it's at. Mm-hmm. That helps me because I don't know that. I told you, I don't know that. I don't know that.
That's what we're for.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly. I can go out and I can get turn oil in the gas, but I can't necessarily put my money in the right spot and think it's gonna do well. So
and I can't do that. I can't turn oil in the gas.
Well, we need to teach each other a few things.
That's right. Well, Mark, I really appreciate you coming on the podcast and just telling us a little bit about yourself.
Sure.
This will be a recurring topic. I run into so many great people just throughout the world, but really just wanted to get your insight into this. And what a wonderful message. And wish you the best and success in your business and success in your family.
Thank you, Ryan. You as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to our episode today. Make sure to like, share, and download our episodes wherever you get your podcasts, and we'd really appreciate a review. Hope to see you in the 19th hole. Content here is for illustrative purposes and general information only. It is not legal, tax, or individualized finance advice, nor is it a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold any specific security or engage in any specific trading strategy. Results will vary. Past performance is no indication of future results or success. Market conditions change continuously. This commentary reflects the personal opinions, viewpoints, and analysis of GFG Wealth Advisors. It does not necessarily represent those of RFG Advisory, Private Client Services, or their clients or their employees. This commentary should not be regarded as a description of advisory services provided by GFG Wealth Advisors or RFG Advisory or performance returns of any client. The views reflected in the commentary are subject to change at any time without notice. Securities offered by registered representatives of Private Client Services, member FINRA, SIPC. Advisory services are offered by investment advisory representatives of RFG Advisory, a registered investment advisor. Private Client Services, GFG Wealth Advisors, and RFG Advisory are unaffiliated entities. Advisory services are only offered to clients or prospective clients where RFG Advisory and its representatives are properly licensed or exempt from licensure. No advisory services may be rendered by RFG Advisory unless a client agreement is in place.